friends. Welcome to Spiraling Together, a mother-daughter healing journey.
I'm the daughter, Chloe.
And I'm the mother, Valerie.
Our mission is to create a safe, nurturing space where mothers and daughters can begin a journey of healing and empowerment together.
Through heartfelt conversations, shared experiences, and our personal insights, we aim to foster deeper connections, strengthen bonds, and inspire growth.
Before we dive into today's conversation, we want to take a moment to express our heartfelt thanks to all of you who are tuning in.
Your willingness to expand and grow with us inspires us each day, and we are honored to have you as part of our community.
If you haven't already, please check out our links below and follow us on your favorite platforms so you never miss an episode.
Let's get ready to unravel the spiral
Together. Howdy, everybody. We are back. This is Spiraling Together, a mother-daughter healing journey. We're on episode 5. The title of today's episode is Silent Sabotage, Social Media's Hidden Effects on Your Healing Journey. Ooh. It's going to be a pretty wild episode. But before we get into it, we did want to ask if you guys were here last week. Our episode was on self-love, and we were wondering if anybody
took any of our suggestions or if it made an impact for you to start your self-love healing journey. We'd love to know in the comments.
Yes.
And just know that it is a daily practice. All of this healing is a daily practice.
Yes. I also want to ask you, is there anything new that you've been doing recently as a practice?
Well, so in the process of slowing down even more, it's not necessarily something that I've been baking sourdough bread. Finally, I really did not want to do that. But, because, we live on a farm and there's a lot of things that since we've been here, it's like I've tried so many things and we have a lot of plants and trees and animals and flowers and plants and all the things. And I really had to scale back a little bit and figure out what I really enjoyed so that I wasn't constantly doing. And I know the sourdough is doing something, but it's like it's a process, and it really helps me like stay in the house. And on those days where I'm doing my stretch and folds and all of that, I'm just kind of in between relaxing, and I have my hands in the dough, and it just gives me a different kind of connection.
Yeah. So. And I would say for those who don't know how to make sourdough, it's a pretty lengthy process.
It's a process. I just think it's one of those things as far as self-love goes that I know that I'm putting something into my body that is literally just water and organic flour and salt. And the process takes long, but I'm not having to put a lot of preservatives into my body or even go to the store to do it. So there's kind of like a balance, I guess. It takes long, but it's good for my gut.
And it's delicious. Yeah. I'm very grateful you know how to make sourdough.
So that's a way I'm incorporating more self-love to myself and self-love to the family.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially knowing how bad the food quality is in America. It's really awesome when you make things from scratch.
Yes.
Because you know exactly what's going in, and it's not scary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I found that on social media.
Woo!
I finally saw this friend of mine on TikTok that I don't know, it was just like, okay, I'm going to do it finally after years of putting it off. So social media can be very beneficial because there are so many different resources and inspirations.
It's really funny though, because I was going to say, I think what am I trying to say? I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Were you talking about social media?
Well, yeah.
I love it.
I mean, well, okay, we just talked the other night and I was talking about how social media right now for me is really detrimental towards my healing journey.
Okay.
And so for us, I was trying to link it back to the self-love thing. That's why I was like, what am I saying?
It's okay.
But yeah, right now for me, social media is just not doing it. And so I'm trying to take more of a social media break. And I think I've always had like a weird relationship with social media because a lot of the time, or it's like I would go through phases of posting stuff and then I wouldn't for a really long time. And there's just so many opinions, not only when your stuff is out on the social media, but also the people you're around, what they post, etc., etc. It's like really, there's so much controversy with social media. And it's really difficult to find the people that you want to consume their media from, not just family and friends. It's just a hard topic.
It's very vast and is in our faces every day. And you're right. There's a lot of judgments on it. There's a lot of like these pressures that we feel. Like I know for me, I do create some content, especially my favorite is honestly, I really love TikTok. I'm not going to lie. That's like my favorite. It's interesting because I feel like the people that I have met on TikTok have supported me more than a lot of my friends and family do. And that's like a really weird feeling. Right?
Yeah. Another thing I was going to bring up too. It's hard to really know when people really support you because I can admit it's like sometimes when I know someone who puts stuff out there, I'm like, whoa, like, what are you doing? And I know that's not right because it's like an ego thing. And I honestly think, to be completely honest, there's like an ounce of jealousy there or envy, however you want to say it. And I think that's what it is for a lot of people. When you see someone working and putting themselves out there, part of you is like, like, I hope you don't make it because I don't know if I would. And I'm too scared to even try. So there's almost also that sense of like, I don't even have the confidence to put myself out there. And you're like full force, like you got it.
And now look at you, sweetheart. Look at what we're doing right now.
It's crazy.
You're putting yourself out there. We're putting ourselves out there. And it's a slow process. And I think it's just one that we're really committed to. And even if it takes us a long time, I know that for me, it's like, I just want to make a difference in the things that I'm saying. And if we don't have a lot of support, that's okay, because the people that we are impacting is what really matters. And you're right. Like, it is an ego thing. Like, when you go to social media and you're like, how many likes did I get? How many followers do I have? All doesn't truly matter when you're wanting to put content out to make a difference.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
But it still is, sometimes it's painful when you are putting it out because you don't have the support. And you're like,
it's just unmotivating, I guess. Well, you know, I mean, especially if like the people you care about aren't supporting you, you're like, damn, do you like me?
Yeah. So
It's kind of a hit. You take a little bit of a hit until you're like, okay, well,
I'm going to do this anyway. And maybe what you just said earlier, the way you feel when you see someone else, they're feeling that way. So now you've
Yeah.
got that mirror that showed you.
oh, I know.
Yeah. Showed you that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So I really do appreciate that you're being vulnerable with admitting like the way that you really feel inside, because I know I've felt that way and so many people have. I mean, when you put yourself out there on social media, you are just like, it's like you're putting yourself out in this like place for the whole world to see you, and you really don't know what's going to come back to you.
And I would also say on top of that, it's this like almost competition feeling that you can have, because you can see like mutuals doing the same thing, but you're kind of like, oh, but I hope I do better, you know? But the important thing, like I've noticed now, is like I don't think like that anymore. And you have to become aware that do you want to be that person? Do you want to be unsupportive? Do you want to hope that someone doesn't do as good as you?
It's a very
It's not cool.
It's a lack mindset. There's enough abundance in this universe for us all to have 1 million followers, or for us all to do well. You know, it's
Right.
it's abundance, really. And that's part of healing in itself, is supporting everyone out there that is on this journey and knowing that they're coming from the heart and wanting to make a difference. And we all use our voices in a different way. But when you're sharing your story and when you're putting yourself out there, it's like, good for you, sister. Good for you, brother. Like, I am happy for you, because when we can be happy for others, they can be happy for us too.
Right.
But let's like get into the impacts of like when we spend too much time on social media.
I personally, like I was saying, I kind of go through these phases with social media where I'm like, oh yeah, let me post some stuff. Ooh, who's liking my stuff? Ooh, who's watching my stuff? You get addicted because those likes, it's a dopamine hit, and it makes you happy because you feel validation.
Yes.
Social media is, yeah, the validation from it, like, everyone loves to feel validation. You can't say you don't, I feel like. And a lot of the time, that's the reason why you're posting anyways. I'm not saying for everybody that's true. But I think that plays a big role in posting, especially, you know, when you take selfies and stuff and you want to post those, you just posted a picture of your face. You want people to like it, you know? And then if they don't, you feel horrible about yourself. You're like, oh, am I actually ugly in this picture? Should I delete it? I've deleted stuff in my past because not a lot of people liked it. And that sucks, because I think when you have enough confidence to post something, it's usually because you think that you look good. And you post it and you don't get that validation. That's like crushing. It hurts.
It does hurt. And also, now we don't really understand the algorithms of everything. Sometimes it doesn't get pushed out. Sometimes our friends aren't on social media those days, or they're taking a break from it and they don't see it, or there's a whole lot of things going on, but we really make it very personal. And I know for me, like talking about the dopamine. So I have watched myself go through these spirals of posting a whole lot because, I'm feeling really good and I'm posting a lot and I'm just getting lots of comments and lots of feedback and lots of validation. And it just feels good. And it's like dopamine after dopamine after dopamine. And then I finally am like, whoa, I have got to step away from this and get some real life chemicals. Like I need to put my phone down and go outside and actually feel real, like what real dopamine is, what real serotonin, like all of the different chemicals. I need something else. But I've noticed that those times where I pull away, I will have like a withdrawal. I will have a literal body withdrawal. Like I will feel not right. I will feel bad. If I just say, I'm not touching any social media for a day, it's like a withdrawal happens.
Yeah.
And that's kind of scary.
Because it is an addiction.
It is.
And they just keep making more of it.
I mean, good gravy. Like, good gravy. I don't even remember
Good
the
gravy.
last. Good gravy. What is the last? I mean, like, how many social media platforms are there? I can't even keep up. I mean,
Probably at least 10.
And what we're doing right now for this podcast, it's like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And then of course there's Spotify and Apple and all of these different places. And isn't there threads off of Instagram and X or whatever, Twitter, whatever it is now? I mean, there's so much. And it's like,
at what point is it enough?
Yeah. And you have to make sure that you're putting it out. Like some people aren't on TikTok. Some people aren't this. Some people aren't that. So you want to make sure but how much, it just takes a lot of time and energy.
It really does.
It is our everyday now.
Yeah. There are very, very few people I know that do not have social media that I've met before. Maybe 2 people that I can think of off the top of my head. And I'm like, I'm proud of you. I hope you never get sucked into it. But then, because it's like, I also have those days where I'm like, I just want to delete everything. But then the hard thing is I'm like, well, my best friends post on social media. And like, I do love seeing their stuff. It's just, then I get sucked into everything else.
And it's a lot.
And it is a lot. And then you just get stuck on it.
And you just like mindlessly scroll. It's like
brain rot.
You think that I'm just going to go rest. And then you just pick up your phone and you just mindlessly scroll. And then you're 2 hours later, you're like, what did I do?
Even the other night, I like watched an episode of the TV show I was watching, and then the episodes are like 40 minutes long. And I was like, I should go to bed. But then I picked up my phone and I started scrolling. And I scrolled for a whole hour. And I was like, I could have just watched another episode and I wouldn't have just been mindlessly not even, it's...
So let's talk about doing a social media detox or taking a break. And if you don't mind, I will tell a little story because I've done a couple of pretty hefty detoxes, I guess you would say.
Go for it.
I decided to take an entire month off social media. So a whole 30 days. And the feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take I felt like I had to tell everyone. Like I made a post on all the platforms that I was taking 30 days off. And, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose followers because I'm not posting content. And oh my gosh, like I'm going to miss out. Because, a lot of the world, like the information we get comes from social media. I don't watch the news, but I will learn something if I'm on Facebook or anywhere else. Or people post their wedding engagements. They post all of their big events. Like, that's how you know what's going on. So I had that fear of like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to know anything that's going on. But then I was like, you know what? I really need this for myself. I need to have a breather from all the information coming in or from the pressure of putting out content. I need to walk outside and not go, oh, I need my phone to take a picture of that bee in the flower so I can show the whole world, this bee. I needed a break so that I could truly be present and so that I could feel what it was like not to have things inundated. And I'm going to tell you that month was so freeing for me. Like, it felt like I had chains unlocked and taken off of me. Like I was out of a cage, like I was flying around like a butterfly and just like not having that worry. So I highly recommend it. I mean, I know 30 days might seem extreme. I'm kind of an extreme person. I do the things like I go all in when I do something, but even just a day, half a day, a week, try it. See how you feel.
Which we said that we were, well, I don't even know how long we said we were going to do that detox. But, well, I also was like, what was that? A couple days ago, started like noticing that social media is making me feel a certain way about my body, which is a big thing for everybody, because social media is full of filters, all kinds of, fitness gurus, etc., etc. And I was like, I should probably just stop looking at my Instagram, because I never really felt a certain like negative way about my body until more recently, because I've been on Instagram more. And when your explore page starts filling up with, these beautiful people that have like an quote unquote ideal body type that society has created, and you're like, you look in the mirror and you're like, I don't see the same thing. It's aggravating. But I was like, yeah, I need to stop looking at Instagram.
And I think you hit on a really big key point, that there are filters and now there's AI. And sometimes you don't even know if the person you're looking at is actually a person or not.
True.
I mean, there's literal AI run accounts now that they're not a person. So for us to compare ourselves to that is so unrealistic. Mm-hmm. And so it's just being able to have the knowledge and also having the awareness that if something is triggering you or if it's too much, it's okay to unfollow that account.
Yeah.
And it's also okay to know that, not everyone wants to put their best self forward, when we know that there is not a single person in this world that doesn't have like a flaw on their skin somewhere, and I don't even like to use the word flaw, but they may have a scar or cellulite or acne or any of the things like, but you can airbrush it. You can make it look perfect. Yeah.
Which is, it sucks that the people that do post and, that do use filters, it sucks that you feel the need to do that. Because, you're not, I don't know.
It's not real.
Yeah.
And it isn't, like, let's say you go out into public and if you have a social media account and all you've ever done is use filters and wear makeup and put your best self forward, you have to go out in the world and present yourself that way. And I know for me, like, I'm wearing a little bit of makeup today for this.
Me too.
But like on the daily basis out here at the farm, I don't wear makeup all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And I really try my hardest not to use filters. But man, sometimes you just look at yourself and you're like, oh, I look a little bit nicer if I just like.
Yeah.
I think if you have a mixture.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't. They live behind that image of looking perfect all the time. And it's just refreshing to see when people don't.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that we wanted to touch on, was like, what kind of content are you following? What kind of content are you consuming? I know you said earlier, like unfollowing the people that, you know, make you feel upset, make you feel bad about yourself. It's not that you don't support them anymore. It's literally for your mental health. It's so that you don't get stuck looking at those pictures and scrolling on that profile and looking at everything that person has that you don't. Because I do it. I've done it. It's hard to get out of doing that. You know, once you see that person that you think is so perfect, and then you almost get obsessed with it, like, because you don't have it and you want it, but it does make you feel bad.
And I want to just say that you do have it. What you see in other people, the good parts of them, you have the same good in you. The perfect they have is the perfect in you, because we truly are already perfect, and we are already enough exactly the way we are. So you already are all of that, sweetheart. What's coming up for you?
I don't know. It just makes me want to cry.
It's just really accepting yourself and loving yourself and knowing that you are such a gift, that you are already everything. You're not just gorgeous physically, but you're gorgeous on the inside.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I just love you so much.
I love you too.
And I love that you're showing up here and being vulnerable. I just want to say that I know that a lot of you, if you've watched our episodes, Chloe, she used to not cry. Like she wouldn't cry. She would hold everything in. And part of this healing process is feeling it and allowing the tears to come out, because when we hold them in, that's where we get stuck, right?
Yeah. It's not healthy. Doesn't feel good.
Yeah. And so this is just doing so much healing, voicing these things that have probably been stuck inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never know what's going to come up on an episode.
I mean, I think this topic specifically right now for me is just...
It's in your reality.
Social media has been sabotaging my healing journey. So it's a big thing right now for me.
And I'm here to support you. And I think that's why we said in the mornings, instead of grabbing our phones first and going directly into social media, which I know I've been guilty of a million times, we do something else for ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
We don't let the whole world come into our reality first thing in the morning before we take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because that can lead you on a spiral first thing in the morning.
Spiral.
Yeah. And we don't, I first thing in the morning, if I pick up my phone and I start doing stuff, there's been times where I've like I woke up at 6:30 in the morning and oh my gosh, it's like 9 and I'm still scrolling through. I'm like, what in the heck? I mean, you know, what have I done for myself?
Yeah.
So I'm here for you, honey.
Thank you.
Let's delete those
appreciate
apps. Even though now
right?
you're
Now technically we have to have them.
but that can be another topic of if you are creating content, maybe the creation is what's important at this time and not the consumption so much of it.
Yeah. I'm having a lot more fun like making the aesthetics of everything and figuring out the kinks of how everything goes on every platform.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Cause I'm like, I feel like I'm 22. I'm like, I should know this stuff. And it's a learning curve. There's a lot to it.
And it's changing also. It's always changing. Social media.
Definitely.
It's been changing. So thank you for all of the things that you've been doing for our social media. It's looking really great. I love the aesthetics of it. I knew that you would make it look very pretty and pleasing to the eye. And that is part of your creativity. And so, yeah, the creation, that's wonderful.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely more on our work account, I guess you would call it, than my personal account now, which is also better. We're following other podcasters and stuff, which is more fun, seeing the content that they put out and what they come up with. Supporting the community.
Exactly. And then learning and growing instead of comparing. And just being patient with our progress. Because a lot of the people that we follow have been making podcasts for like a whole long time, like 10 years or more or something. And so, of course, we're learning, but we're not trying to be that overnight, you know?
Right.
And just knowing it takes time and we're learning. So social media it's a necessity. I mean, in this world, it really just is. And it can be very beautiful. It can be very helpful. I know that I have learned a lot and I've met a lot of really cool people that I never would have known.
Yeah.
We just have to watch whenever it is sabotaging us or hurting us, and then being able to have that awareness of like, hey, you know, I really want to scale back. I'm choosing my self-care and my self-love over scrolling anymore. I'm choosing to go do a practice. I'm choosing to go outside. I'm choosing to not even have my phone in my hand. Like if you feel that feeling and if you're having a hard time with that, ask for help. I know that there's someone out there that you can say, hey, I need some accountability. Could we do this together? Or if they don't want to do it, say that, could you hold me accountable or whatever? And what about just the way that it like even distracts you from when you're with someone else?
Ooh, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a thing with that.
Okay, tell us your thing.
Well, I don't know. Phones in general, when I'm around people, well, okay, my love language is quality time. So phones are a big enemy for me because when I'm hanging around people, it doesn't matter who I'm with. If it's one-on-one or like a small group of people, and you know, we're like having a conversation or something, that phone goes off, they pick it up, I'm like, It's just upsetting because it makes you feel like you're less important than whatever is on someone's phone. And that is not a fun thing to feel. I mean, even I've had many past friendships, relationships where that would happen, and it just shuts me down. Because it would be like, you know, like right now, if we're talking to each other and you picked up your phone and I'm talking right now, I would just like stop talking, and then they usually do that thing where they're like, oh, what were you saying? And I'm like, you didn't care.
Well, actually, this is going to bridge us into the next episode where we are going to be talking about speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And speaking your truth sometimes is calling people out in these scenarios of, hi, so I see that you have your phone and I know that was important. Is there any way that you and I could spend some time together without any distractions from the phone? Mm-hmm. And it's that speaking our truth is because the bottom line is no one actually knows what we need. And if we shut down, they absolutely don't know what you need.
And there's definitely exceptions, I would say. I mean, of course, like if you're getting a phone call from someone important or whatever, there's exceptions, but it is the times where you're like, I know you're not on the phone.
Or they're just scrolling through social media.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, in this day and age, it doesn't matter where you go. When you're in a group of people, if you just look out, have you ever just looked out for a second, taken a pause? How many people just are on their phones? They're not having conversations anymore.
It's gnarly.
It's so easy just to cower into yourself and not have any conversations with anyone else anymore.
And I notice it a lot at restaurants.
Oof.
When people are eating
and having a meal
together, I'm like, what? I don't know. It's once again, I understand exceptions. I understand you get a phone call or you get a text from someone important, But I'm like, if I see someone literally scrolling on their phone at a restaurant, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Okay. I can't even not tell this story. Also, so we were out to dinner a couple weeks ago, and these people behind us straight up put on a YouTube video out loud as possible at this nice restaurant. And I mean, I'm sorry, but is that not rude?
iPad kids.
Well, oh gosh. Yeah. It's there's no sense of other surroundings. We're all living together in this world together, right? And then it's these devices, you almost feel like you have this own bubble so you can just do whatever. And
well, I want to say this. Yeah, I do think our devices have separated us as a community so much to the point where I feel like some people don't even think the reality of what is happening is oh, you're sitting at a restaurant with people and there's other people in your community around you.
And you're trying to have a nice conversation with your date that you're with or your family, and then you're hearing this blaring a table away, and it's whoa, okay.
I don't know.
You do you, but also
I mean,
you
do you.
Yeah.
It's we're all just so not accustomed to normal interaction anymore.
Yeah.
And this is kind of not going off topic, but a little stretch.
That's okay.
We've both gone to Japan recently.
Yes.
And there were a lot of things about Japan that I fell in love with that are different from America. But one of the things that kind of messed with me was how much they consume in media. It's some of the, or it's if you get on the train there, everyone is glued to their phone. Very few people have a book and no one talks to each other.
Yeah, I think that's the culture though, right? You're not really supposed to talk out loud. Or
it's just confusing to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's
it's just different.
It's just different. Yeah. But it's almost a little sad to me, because
you're just not having those heart-to-heart interactions.
Human interactions,
yeah.
you know.
And that is what...
They're a very respectable culture.
Of course.
I love
so.
Japan.
I loved it.
But I was like... It's almost... It's like an introvert's paradise there.
Yeah.
I guess is a way to put it. It just also makes you like... a little bit, you know? It's like...
It's pretty widespread in our culture too here. Like, I mean, just everyone has a phone. Kids have phones. We all have phones.
True.
And we're all glued to them, and we're more in tune to what's going on, not in our current reality, but what's in the phone. So yes, if you and I were sitting on the couch and I'm sitting here scrolling, and I'm losing that opportunity to have a moment with you that could mean so much more than me seeing whatever it is going on social media. So the bottom line is really becoming aware of your interaction with your phone and with social media, how it's really truly, like, coming to terms with how it's really truly affecting you and what's going on in your life. And yes, it is, everyone's doing it, but still, like, it doesn't make it right to be on it all the time if it's affecting you in your mental health or your relationships.
Definitely.
Yeah. So our next episode
is going to be, like you said earlier, it's about speaking your truth and how it transforms your healing journey.
Yes.
Especially for those that have never been good at speaking up for themselves.
It's a hard thing. I know we say that a lot, but it's been programmed in us, especially, I'm always going to say it, especially as women. We have really been silenced a lot in being able to speak up. And so getting that power back to be able to speak our truth, and knowing that when we are speaking our truth, it's okay. It's okay to stick up for ourselves. It's okay to ask for what we want. It's okay to break that silence of just, I've got to be a good girl. So yeah, I'm excited for the next episode. And you're about to travel again. So
oh yes.
So
we'll be filming in a couple weeks.
When you get back.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I'm going to Oahu again, San Diego again, and then I'm going to Vegas.
Nice. Well, I know that you are going to do an amazing job of all of the things that you're doing for the podcast, and I'm going to miss you, of course.
I'm going to miss you a lot.
When you leave, but also I'm going to have a little bit of that time to myself, which is going to feel so nourishing.
Self-care time.
Self-care. Okay. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time.
But before we go, if you guys would like to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, if you're watching on YouTube, but also find us on other platforms as well. We're pretty much on every podcast platform. And
polls on Spotify, comments on Spotify,
Apple
all the
Podcasts.
ways. Yeah.
You can write a review. You can rate us 5 stars.
Yeah, help your friends out. And
yeah, I think that's that.
That's a wrap. So
awesome.
Don't judge her, just love her.